I read the second one, Ryan, and I'm sitting in the hallway at work, and I become physically embarrassed.
This podcast is not suitable for children or those who are easily disturbed. Spoiler warning for whatever is in the title of this episode.
And now for the obligatory socials. Please like, share and subscribe. You can find the podcast on Twitter at HorrorPod69. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Slasher and Goodreads. Become part of the Disturbed community by asking for the Facebook group and Discord links. Send dick pics to the horrorofbabylonpodcast@gmail.com. Support the show at patreon.com/thehorrorofbabylon. In closing, you can let your friends know that The Horror of Babylon is available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audible and all other major podcast apps.
Welcome to episode 94 of The Horror of Babylon, where we review Five Nights at Freddy's, The Twisted Ones. I'm Ryan, and with me as always is Daniel. Say hi, Daniel.
I wish we were drinking twisted tea.
I don't. We are drinking Great Lakes Commodore Perry IPA, which for the weebs and the Japanese history nerds out there, we're all like super excited about drinking Matthew Perry's beer. And no, not that Matthew Perry. Not that one.
Oh, there's a versus match for us.
I know who wins.
Yeah. But
Okay, well,
fun.
that'll be next week's, because I put one on here that you said, so we'll do that one next week.
I've been making a list of them. I think some of them will hit and some of them will miss, but whatever. Yeah. It's fun.
Like, I think the Matthew Perry one will miss because nobody knows who Matthew Perry was.
Yeah.
That's okay. Commodore Matthew Perry, what a man. This show is brought to you by our patrons, Abigail the First, Breaker of Chains, Mother of Dragons, and
Logan,
the Full Metal Patron, and Ben,
the Fourth,
Patron of Hope, and Mia the Fifth, the Rainmaker.
She makes it rain, yo!
Makes it rain with Patreon dollars. And thank you to Horsemen Comics and Gaming, which you can visit at the Morgantown Mall in Morgantown, West Virginia, or the Mall at Robinson in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. You can shop online at shop.forhorsemancomics.com. But be careful, because there is an AI that controls shop.forhorsemancomics.com that nobody asked for and nobody cared about, but it's come alive and it's killing people.
And if you buy online, make sure to mention us in the comments.
And say hello to Ronald III, Grampus of Christmas.
I've been reading my Superman pull list, and at least that makes me happy.
Yeah. Okay. Trigger warning. Child murder, but again, like the first book, it's
just
off screen. Yeah, it's off screen.
Unlike the games that show it.
Yeah. Dudes who can't take a hint continues. I'll give John a little credit. I think he's a little better.
I think he actually improves throughout the books.
But he still has some moments.
Yeah.
And now you also have Artie, who
he's in here. He's in characters.
And of course, more young adult tropes.
Even more.
In our history with the Twisted Ones, I've never read it. Well, I have read it.
Yeah, now you have.
Now I have.
So this is the story I wanted to tell. So I already told how I saw the trailer for the movie and I got all nostalgic, so I went and bought the books and went, I'm finally going to read these. Mm-hmm. I hear they're bad, but I've read some bad books before. Mm-hmm. I've read all the S.D. Perry Resident Evil novels, which are sort of hit and miss. So I'm sitting there and I read the first one. I'm like, you know what? This isn't as bad as everyone said it was. There's some low lows, but there's some stuff to enjoy in this. Mm-hmm. I read the second one, Ryan, and I'm sitting in the hallway at work, and I become physically embarrassed.
He's never embarrassed.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, am I prone to embarrassment?
No.
Am I prone to being ashamed of things I enjoy?
No.
I was sitting there, and I literally shut the book, and it was over the line you sent me. Mm-hmm. And I said, do I even care about the movie even more? I said it out loud.
If they have that line in the movie, I don't know what I'll do, but I'll freak out.
I kind of want it because I think it'd be funny.
I think it's worth the movie being terrible, just how awful it would be.
But at the same time, I can ask you Leonard saying it would be kind of funny, especially if you did it in a shaggy voice. Oh, I'm Springtrap, yo! That's my Twisted One story. And I knew some of the twists going into that book, and I knew some of the stuff going into the fourth book.
There were twists? Yeah, there were.
If you're a young adult reading this, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm sitting there and I'm reading it, and I'm just so embarrassed of actually having this book and read. And I didn't care that people saw me reading the first one. I'm like, nah, I like Five Nights at Freddy's, whatever. The games are fine. I do think that I talked, because I interact with the fan base, and a lot of them like either apologize for the silliness or try to go, oh, I hate the newer games because they make everything silly. And I'm like, this series has always had a little bit of an inherent silliness, and if you can't accept that, you're in denial.
It's about a robot bear that kills you.
It's haunted Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah.
There's a certain level of silliness that you just have to roll with.
Yeah.
I couldn't roll with some of the stuff in this.
No.
So, there you go. That's my history with the Twisted Ones. I've been waiting for weeks to tell this story.
Yeah.
To admit that there was something that finally got to me.
The vampire's a pure myth, superstition. I may be able to bring you proof that the superstition of yesterday can become the scientific reality of today.
Okay, jumping into background, again, this novel, in fact, the whole trilogy, is written by Scott Cawthorn and Kara Breed-Wrisley. We went into a little bit of their background last time, so if you want to check that out...
just listen to last episode.
Yeah, listen to our episode on the Silver Eyes. I almost said the Silver Spoon.
I kind of want to write a sequel to this trilogy and call it The Silver Spoon.
The Silver Spoon.
Scott, contact me. I'll do it for free.
I almost said something real bad. All right, The Twisted Ones was originally published on June 27th, 2017. The first book introduces animatronics, not in this book. Wait,
not in the games. Yeah, I wrote a book.
Oh, okay.
So the Twisted Ones aren't in any of the games.
This is the first book that introduces animatronics that do not appear in the games.
Yes.
The novel was positively received, has a 4.7 out of 5 on Amazon, a 4.2 out of 5 on Goodreads, and a 4.9 out of 5 on Barnes & Noble.
Hey, Ryan, what do you think of those numbers?
I think that the only people who care enough to take the time to rate it are people who really like it.
I honestly think that it was probably rated by people who were really riding high on it at the time. Now, it doesn't have nearly as many, reviews as this. But on Goodreads, it has the exact same rating as Stephen King's It. Yeah, doesn't that kind of piss you off?
A little bit, but...
Yeah, I thought that was funny. That's why I added my little ellipses.
And this book is heavily used in the theory community, the people who, have their Five Nights at Freddy's theories. William Afton was actually a...
I have whole rants on this because I honestly blame this book for a lot of the problems in the theory community.
And that's that. Another story in the classic, infallible 3-act structure. Good enough for Aristotle, good enough for The Simpsons.
Mr. Sislak, I have a feeling there's going to be one more act to this story.
Well, I'm not hanging around for that. 4 acts.
Structure and theme structure. This is a third-person omniscient with shifting characters' perspectives. I did think it was a little better.
It was easier to follow.
I think maybe that's because it had fewer characters than the first one.
And I also enjoyed that.
Yeah. Well, I did and I didn't.
I missed some of the... I think they chose the wrong characters to follow.
Yeah. And I agree.
I would have liked Carlton. I would have liked...
I said I thought that of them, other than Charlie, the two strongest were Marla and Carlton, and they went with John and Jessica. John makes sense.
I think Carlton would have made sense because he had always lived in the area.
Yeah.
But you needed another girl. But I don't hate Jessica, but I think they chose the wrong one in terms of, characterization.
By the end of this book, Jessica is the one I feel the least negative about.
Yeah. No, we'll get to it. Yeah.
But at the beginning, if I had my choice, I would have preferred Marla.
Yeah. What was... I hate saying this. Who was the black character's name again?
Lamar.
Smartest character in the franchise. Never returns.
Yeah, I did something that I've never done. In the history of this podcast. I've never read ahead. But I started the third book. I only read 4 or 5 chapters, but I got to the part with
Lamar says, I'm never
coming back.
I love that
And I don't know why you guys are.
There's also some stuff I really hate in the fourth closet. But that line I legitimately love because, yeah, why would you?
Yeah.
Why would you purposely put yourself in that situation ever again?
I wouldn't.
Maybe Charlie would, but why is anyone else?
Yeah. But just in terms of, like, pure writing, like, it has fewer characters. It gets less confusing with the shit perspective jumps, so
it's 100 pages shorter.
It's also 100 pages shorter. Also, maybe this is a good time to mention, this book, my main praise of this book is that it does not have the pacing issues that the first one has.
And I was going to bring that up, and now's a good time. Was one of the biggest criticisms was the first book had such pacing issues, and no one died. The problem is that I don't care what happens right now. And when you're reading it, the people who die aren't characters that matter.
So that was my main praise. My main complaint with this book, if I had to boil it down to one thing, for me, is apathy. I just don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care anymore. There are reasons for that I'll get into.
Yeah.
But that's my main issue. So themes, depression, grief, AI, perception.
This is a quote from Scott Cawthon. What's seen in the shadows is easily misunderstood in the mind of a child, which is a quote he gave to try to tell people the story for FNAF 4, which we will get into in a little bit.
So, to get a little more specific, I wasn't crazy about the Silver Eyes, but there were things I liked about it. The small town horror, the, like, returning home after being gone, reuniting with an old group of friends, the dynamics of that friend group.
I feel like with a better editor and like a little bit of tightening that there would have been like an acceptable book in that.
But none of those themes
return here.
None of them.
It all hyper focuses on Charlie with problems that she kind of resolved at the end of the Silver Eyes.
Yeah.
But they kind of, inexplicably return. Which is sort of explained in the Fourth Closet. But we'll get to that.
The other thing is, this is not my favorite horror franchise by a mile.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's not even my favorite, but
haunted, ghost children, that's something I can get behind. I'm cool. Like, children are murdered and they haunt these robots and the robots kill. I can get behind that. But I am so utterly exhausted with AI discourse.
Yeah.
This was probably the worst single moment in history for me to have read this book.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. I did want to bring up that I thought that whenever Scott was writing this book, he had a story he wanted to tell. And I don't even think he wanted to use FNAF to tell it. But because that's what he had as a vehicle to tell it, because there's a very clear shift in the games from where he goes from talking about spooky ghost children to talking about weird AI shit. And it happened in Sister Location. And this book was released kind of close to that, not quite. And I think that the story he wanted to tell started to influence the games, influence these books, and maybe not in the most positive way. Not for me. Apparently people like this book.
And
I know a few of them.
And also, the current events that are going on right now in 2023 are not the fault of this book. This book was written 6 years ago.
Yeah, but
AI was not the hot button issue than it is now.
Yeah, the main villain in the FNAF series right now, which is why I haven't played it's one of the reasons I haven't played the most recent game, is an AI, and I'm like, I don't care. I liked the spooky ghost children. I like the serial killer.
I also prefer the spooky ghost children. So yeah, I mean that's a preference thing.
That is a preference thing. I'm not trying to make people feel bad for it. I'm just trying to let people know where I'm coming from when I start to rant on this book.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Anything else in structure and themes?
I don't think so. I think we covered it pretty well.
Okay. So
characters.
Charlie. So I kind of liked Charlie in the first one. I thought she was kind of relatable because I felt like one of my main issues is telling people what I want or what I don't want, or just, a lot of the time I go along with things even if I'm not crazy about it, and she's kind of the same way. So
kind of like reviewing this franchise.
Exactly like that. So I kind of liked her in the first one, and I don't hate her in this book.
I'm confused by her in this book.
Yeah.
Because because I've been taking notes for a very specific reason, which we'll get into. But in the first book, she even says she didn't study robotics or AI because that's what her father did, and she just didn't have that same spark.
Mm-hmm.
But in this book, she is. That is kind of sort of explained.
I feel like he only came up with an explanation for it because that's the direction he decided to take the story in.
Yeah. I think that, honestly, I think the Silver Eyes works fine as like a standalone thing.
Yeah.
Spoilers, I think the Fourth Closet is perfectly okay, especially compared to this book. But a lot of that comes with the caveats of ignoring the twisted ones. Or certain things, like you have to cherry pick what to ignore and what not to. 5
chapters in, I prefer it to this book, but that is not
that's not high praise.
Yeah.
Like one of the things I have to ignore is a lot of the characterization, but at the same time I have to accept that Charlie died. Spoilers, she dies at the end of this book.
Maybe.
Sort of.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Should I get into that now, or should we?
We can wait. We can wait for
okay, because I mean,
this is a spoiler podcast. We do talk about this book.
But
people have
we
read
turn
it.
to bury the lead.
Yeah. This joke does sit-ups.
I thought it was kind of cute.
Okay. I have mixed feelings about it. I thought maybe this is that like comedy rules comes in threes, doesn't work for me every time. Mm-hmm. I thought it was kind of funny the first and second time, like she says it to Jessica and then she says it on her date. Mm-hmm. But then she's having like a fist fight with a robot and says it. And I'm just kind of like, everything about the robot fight was already silly.
I was very unenthused about the entire last third of this book.
Oh my god, yeah.
But that didn't particularly bother me. As long as a joke doesn't go more than 3 times, it generally doesn't. Unless I don't think it's funny from the beginning.
At least it only went 3 times.
Unlike it's a caper.
Yeah. Oh, okay, that went way more than 3 times.
Yeah.
That's why my review for the book is it's not a caper, it's a shitty book. We should write a review for this book tonight.
Depends on how much I drink.
Okay. But I also included this because I think he was trying to make her a little bit more funny and more personable, and I think the results are sort of mixed.
There was one part that I thought was genuinely funny, and it's after her first date with John, where she's outside talking to herself, and she says something about the dead bodies, and the lady and her dog are walking by. And she's like, no, it was about a zombie. I saw a zombie movie. It's not about real dead bodies or something.
Yeah.
Because I've done stuff like that before.
Yeah, you say something out loud and people look at you.
But generally, I felt like it was the same character, but with just like things added on, like her sudden out of nowhere interest in robotics. But I guess like I have known people to like not be interested in something and then they go to college and they take a class or hear a professor talk and all of a sudden bang,
that's their personality now.
Yeah.
So
that has happened before. Jessica, I did not think I would read this book and go, Jessica was kind of the best character just because, but maybe that's because she's like the least annoying.
I think she's very, I keep using this word, she's personable.
Yeah.
He tried to make Charlie personable. Mm-hmm. I think Jessica actually kind of is.
And that's kind of why I like and relate to Charlie's, because she's just awkward with people.
Yeah.
She has trouble talking to people like I do.
And I think Jessica she's very much that friend. She's definitely trying to push Charlie and John into being a thing. Mm-hmm. She's definitely like, oh, of course I'll give you a makeover if it's for your date.
Yeah.
Mrs. Liar Charlie.
I was shitting, but whatever.
I do like that they kept up the archaeology aspect. I wish she would have talked a little bit more about it.
I agree.
Even if it would have just been like one more sentence or 2 more. She does bring it up again in the Fourth Closet.
Good. Do you think it was bad of Jessica to be creeped out by Charlie working on those AI robots in their dorm room?
Do I think it was bad of Jessica?
No.
No. I think that that was the exact reaction that Charlie should have expected.
Yeah.
Given what they went through, and B, just kind of how she sets it up.
Yeah, and also just like if I were Jessica, I'd be like, that thing's been in my room while I've been sleeping all these nights.
Granted, like, it can't hurt you, but at the same time, literal robots have tried to kill you before.
Yeah.
I have here, she's very forgiving of Charlie dragging her back to Freddy's for a 5th time. Why can't I have normal for... That was another line. That one didn't get me to embarrassment, but it got me close.
It's a very young adult tropey line, but it does fit the situation.
I was very forgiving of it for those reasons.
Yeah.
Unlike other things.
Probably because I would have been saying something similar.
Yeah. I'm just sitting there like, I would have dipped out as soon as I realized she was lying to me.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I would have dipped out as soon as she showed me the robot heads and them talking to each other.
Yeah,
it's like, it's an AI, Jessica. Nope, we're all done.
I already let you live here after you left living with your aunt.
Yeah, like, nope, not doing this.
You didn't even ask me, you just sort of showed up.
Okay, John, so you have some notes here. Is working in construction to pay bills and mentions working on... Okay. Is John better or worse?
This was specifically for you.
I think he's better.
Okay. I just want to hear some feedback on...
There are a couple specific moments that I noted where he gives her space. Like, when she leaves the theater, and I was like, oh, he's going to run out. Nope, he stays in the theater. He leaves her alone.
He stays in his seat.
I was very... negative at the beginning when, like, in the first chapter she's like, oh, John called me out of the blue and he's stopping by to see me, and then she's like, but I didn't even think about how did he find out where I lived, and I texted you and I was like, okay, Helicopter Boy is now officially a stalker. But
I didn't want to assume anything, but I'm like, yeah, Jessica told him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so it was honestly, he's matured a little bit and he's fine.
I thought it was really funny because I've done this. On their first date, he talks about his ex.
Yeah, I thought that was weird for two reasons.
I related to it a little bit, but only because it reminded me a lot. And he's 18, so it's a little different. But it reminded me of when I first tried to date after my divorce. Mm-hmm. And people are like, oh, you're divorced. And then you just start going into it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really have dating experience, but I imagine that's not the best thing to do. Yeah,
it's not a great thing to do, but I'm like... But that is something that guys sometimes do. Mm-hmm. Like, it just slips, and then you can't stop yourself.
I also thought it was a little just out of character that he randomly had a serious relationship with this other woman when, like, prior to this, his whole character has just been that he loves Charlie.
A lot of this is headcanon or assumptions based on, like, what I think Scott Cawthon was trying to do. Because he did get feedback on the first book. He was too obsessive in the first book. I need to try to pull him back. And he did everything he could to pull him back a little bit. Mm-hmm.
But still make it so that he obviously cares about her.
Yeah. And that was one of my, like, oh, okay, so he just assumed that Charlie wasn't ever going to come back, so he tried.
Yeah. Which is fine. Like, I'm not faulting him. It's just, it felt weird. That was not what I expected at all.
Especially because we weren't the target demographic when these books were released. We didn't read them like one and then wait.
Yeah.
And then read it. We read these back to back, so we went from one right into the other.
Yeah.
Which is gives you a little bit of a different feeling. You don't feel that sense of time passing.
Yeah, it's not like waiting for years between Harry Potter books when you're a kid. Yeah. No, I get that. What did you think of his big confession at the end?
I expected it.
Yeah.
It was very young adult tropey.
I'm surprised it didn't happen at the end of the first book. So
I wanted to like it at the end of this book, but when I'm sitting there on the reread and like all the stuff that's going on around it, especially the first time when I was literally like, I have to just finish this now.
Just the whole confrontation with Springtrap and the Twisted Ones is just, it's all so... It's distasteful to me.
It's a Freddy. It's a twisted Freddy. I was going to make you call me Springtrap for this entire review.
I won't. I'm not as respectful as Clay and Charlie and Jessica.
Pronouns.
It's not a pronoun.
Nice pronoun is Springtrap now.
But...
Spring and Trap.
What is all that bad stuff in the last third of the book, to me it like ruins like anything that might have been good otherwise.
Yeah. I think a lot of... That's part of my problem with this book is a lot of the bad... a lot of the real bad... is packed at the end.
Yeah, because the first and second acts, I think, are okay.
Okay-ish.
There's
some bad, there's like some, okay, it's a kid's book.
They're not as interesting to me as the good parts of the Silver Eyes, but they're not, like, torture to read.
Yeah. It's not a Saw movie.
But the last third of it is just... It was so hard to get. Like, I just, like, almost stopped listening. Like, I was hearing the words, but I was not actively listening to it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Artie. Other John.
Why did there have to be two characters that his whole thing is he has a crush on Charlie and that's it?
I honestly think he was invented to try to make John look better.
I mean, there was one line that was like, he had been following Charlie around like a puppy, and that's it. Like,
you've met me. I've been this guy.
I've been this guy.
But at the same time, we already had this guy in the first book.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not faulting him for what he is. I'm faulting him for being John number 2.
And he's such a minor character, but he sticks out like a sore thumb.
And so far to me, and this is only really a problem because I've read ahead a little bit, is his comment at the end of the book.
That's the reason he got included.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that later, because we're going to continue to bury the lead on the end of the book. Clay is
Ryan's favorite character.
Better, but not.
Yeah, I think that explains this book a hell of a lot.
Yeah,
it's better, but it's not.
So I'll say one thing.
Okay.
You cannot make me feel bad for him. You cannot make me feel bad that his wife left him.
I was so, like, when you were sitting there telling me, I'm like, Ryan gets his wish.
Yeah, I said in the last episode, if I was his wife, I would have asked him for a divorce on the spot. And they don't get divorced, but she leaves him.
And she leaves him for a different reason, but I like to pretend it was for multiple.
Yeah, I'm sure, like, it was a build-up. Like,
not only did you almost get our son killed by being stupid, but you also brought the things that almost killed him into my house.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically, my other, like, whole criticism of this book is every problem you have could have been solved with fire. Why didn't you just... Okay, so he's like, well, I couldn't let them just take them to the dump because they're dangerous, but I couldn't disrespect the children. So have a funeral pyre like Luke did for Darth Vader.
So I was going to do this thing. I didn't buy a slicker, so we can't do it. Where I was going to make you take a shot where I have to go well and then explain something from the games.
The other thing, when they find the twisted ones buried in the backyard, just douse them in gasoline and set them on fire.
One of my favorite parts of this book, and it's so stupid, but it makes so much sense, is when he just shoots one.
Yeah.
He brought his cop car. For some people who don't know, one of my backgrounds is I was a police officer for 3 months. We have a shotgun in the back of the car. Pull it out and just pump it in the thing's head that you just dug up until it ceases to function.
Yeah, I mean, like, they dug it up partway. It didn't wake up. It didn't start moving. It didn't just get some gasoline, throw it on him, set him on fire, shoot him with a shotgun.
And then go to the next one, shoot it in the face, and then burn the bodies. Now, I did like that he did actually try to shoot it, and then, like, because one of the questions that people used to ask before this book was released was like, why don't you just take a gun with you to work? And I'm like, well, I guess it depends on what state you're in. But at the same time, like, yeah, why wouldn't you just try shooting the thing trying to kill you?
I mean, why wouldn't you just quit after the first night?
Yeah, first night.
Yeah.
There's some stuff you just gotta accept. Mm-hmm. But at least he went like, yeah, you can shoot them, but it's not always gonna work.
Yeah. But of course, it's good that he didn't burn Freddy and Chica and Foxy and Bonnie and Golden Freddy, because it turns out they're the good guys.
In the games, the only way to actually release the spirits is to have a hot enough fire. Otherwise, it's called remnant, like it's memories of the people that are haunting it cling to an object, and the only way to release it is to make it just hot enough so that they go the fuck away. That's not revealed in this book. It was kind of hinted at when this book was being released in the games, but it wasn't explicitly stated yet.
Very interesting, darling.
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah.
But
fire. Yeah. Every problem is solved with fire.
Burn it. Shoot it in the face because if it doesn't have a head, how's it going to move? Mm-hmm. And then burn the body. Okay.
And then the animatronics.
Okay. I'll let you go first, but I do have a mini rant.
I thought it was weird that Freddy and the gang are now the good guys, but it made sense because they're kind of the good guys at the end of the Silver Eyes, because they're just hurt children.
Yeah, they're haunted, confused children.
Yeah, so it makes sense, but it's weird. It's a Five Nights at Freddy's book, but Freddy and his friends kind of felt like tacked on. And it's like, oh, I got them in my basement. Oh, they're going to show us the way to Charlie.
You said Freddy felt like super irrelevant compared to others, and it just keeps feeling more that way the further you go.
Yeah, it's like you could have taken Freddy out of this book, and it almost would not have mattered.
The twisted ones.
Yeah.
At the end of FNAF 4, one of the big that quote that I shared at the beginning of this by Scott and FNAF 4 very super strongly implies that FNAF 4 and maybe the entire franchise up until that point was the dream of a kid who died in an accident at a restaurant. The whole "it was a dream the whole time" can be a very hard tightrope of a trope to exercise. Most of the times it's super bad. It's very, like, hand-wavy. One of my favorite movies of all time does it pretty well. Jacob's Ladder, where it's revealed that the whole twist is he's a Vietnam vet and this is his, like, dying hallucinations. And there's, like, lots of little hints and stuff like that through the game. The fucking illusion discs. Didn't exist in the games until after this book. And then they became sort of the hand-wavy explanation for if something's weird or it's hard to explain. Oh, it was an illusion. That's why you're hearing weird sounds. It was an illusion. That's why you're seeing things pop up on a screen.
Why couldn't they just have been made that way?
Yeah.
Why couldn't the creepy, twisted Freddy just be a
creepy and twist?
Yeah.
My problem with illusion discs, and this is something I don't see brought up enough, especially by people who talk about the games, is it's just fucking Dream Theory, but an extra step. It's literally just a different hand-wavy explanation that I think confuses the franchise, that has now thankfully mostly been abandoned.
Thank goodness.
But at the time when this came out, before I read this book, I was aware of the illusion discs because it was coming up in theories. And my first thought was, that's fucking dumb. I was like the one person who just honestly went, yeah, you should have just ended at Dream Theory. It being like the dying dreams of a child who died because his brother accidentally put him into a prank and he got crushed by an animatronic was kind of sort of haunting and sad and sort of cathartic. And again, I understand people weren't satisfied. A lot of them were young. So Scott goes, okay, I have to make these all an actual physical threat now. I don't have any proof that's the thing because he's never come out and said it because he refuses to. But my theory is that he invented that in this book to make a new hand wave for those things. So I had to rant about that because it brought up in the book.
Oh, slightly pouring one out for Michael Gambon, the best Dumbledore.
Did he die?
He died yesterday or the day before. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, he was an old man, so
he lived a good life, and he got to be Dumbledore. He got to hand me the bottle opener. I need another drink for this.
He got to be Dumbledore in 6 movies, so
I've only had 1 beer, and I already can't work this.
Yeah, they're actually like pretty high on the alcohol content.
Yeah, so I'm gonna pace myself. You kind of had a good idea that the fan base just sort of rejected because they were too young to sort of appreciate the cathartic nature of.
I'm not criticizing this franchise, but it's just a fact that the majority, there are lots of adult fans, but the
vast majority
are children.
Yeah, and a lot of the adult fans were children or teenagers when they first got into it. Like, they're adults because it's been out since 2014.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, almost 10 years. But, like, I follow some people on YouTube that are in their 20s now, but they were 13 when they started the franchise.
Yeah.
Some of them were 13 when they started their YouTube channels.
So, I have to tell you.
Yeah.
I don't want you to call me Ryan anymore. Because I am Springtrap!
Okay, Springtrap. I'm woke. I'll respect your new identity.
Springtrap, it felt to me like a scene out of The Incredibles, where it's just supposed to be a stupid villain trope, but it's not. It's supposed to be serious.
And it was written to be serious. If it would have been written to be funny, I think it would have been one thing. But sometimes you can just tell the way a scene is written that they're trying to be taken seriously. And the guy's name is Springtrap in the games, but it's not something he calls himself. It's just kind of a label.
It'd be one thing if the newspaper started calling you Springtrap, but if you like sit in your villain lair and try to think of a name,
and like you're stuck in this suit and going, wonder what I'm going to call myself.
Springtrap.
So he's the villain of FNAF 3. He's the only animatronic in FNAF 3, and he's the killer who you find out at the end of the game was spring locked in the suit. And he's coming towards you, and you can lure him away because, like, the robot's also in there by playing children laughing noises throughout the, like, you're working in a haunted house now,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll make him walk towards where children are supposed to be.
So you can kill them.
Well, because the animatronic is supposed to go there and entertain them.
Oh.
So he can't control it.
Oh.
But he doesn't talk, and you can just kind of see his rotting corpse underneath it.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of works. When you have him sitting there fucking monologuing at you, which he does in FNAF 6.
The worst FNAF game.
Fourth best, but...
Fourth best.
Out of
third
8.
worst.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But I think it has the best ending, but that's because everyone dies.
Yay! Okay.
But just that line, dude, I put that book down, and I literally, it like killed my enthusiasm. It almost killed it again.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. I immediately hit pause and texted you just I'm Springtrap and then a bunch of gifs of people just laughing at how stupid something is.
Was this one of the times you put it in timeout?
No,
because you had to finish.
Because I was so close to being done. I just needed to be done.
Okay.
I actually didn't put this one in timeout very often. One, because I just needed to get through it, and two, because it's much shorter.
Yeah.
Not because it's better, because it's not. It's better, but it's not.
I also have to ask. They find William's body when they go back to the FNAF location. Did they not call the police?
Yeah. Well, I guess that's because the police already knew. I don't know. I don't have an explanation for that.
Yeah.
I mean, Clay already knows, but so I guess they're like, well, if Clay wanted it gone, it'd be gone.
Because Clay does say they never found his body.
Yeah, that's
But then you
true.
find his body. I'm like, the first thing I would do is go...
It's called Clay.
It's called Clay. Go, hey, we found his body. You collect it. You send it to a morgue. And then I guess he kills the mortician.
I guess Charlie would have been like, oh no, Clay told me not to come here, so I'm not gonna...
Yeah,
I guess.
But you have to hand wave it, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's one of those... And I'm usually nicer to children's books, but to me it's such a huge plot hole that I'm sitting there going, I have to come up with like 5 different explanations just to make the rest of the story work.
I'm usually nicer to children's books, but R.L. Stine is a better writer than these two.
I honestly don't know which one of them to blame.
Well, of course we'll never know.
Yeah, so...
That's fine, whatever.
Okay, so we've been burying the lead on Charlie.
Okay, so here's the process I went through.
Okay.
It does the whole thing where Charlie is caught by the string traps, and then the house falls and gets crushed. And then they're at the diner, and Jessica's talking to John and saying, well, we don't know she's dead. She could be alive. And I'm pissed at John because, like, dude, Dave survived it twice. Why are you assuming that Charlie's dead? I thought you loved her. Why aren't you out there looking for her?
Digging in the rubble.
This is so stupid. Why could she not have lived? Yes, blood came out of the suit. That doesn't mean you're dead. I can slice my arm right here and bleed and I won't die.
Yeah.
And then Charlie shows up, and now all of a sudden, like, I'm on, because I didn't believe she was dead. Mm-hmm. I absolutely did not believe she was dead. Then Charlie shows up, and now I'm on John's side. I'm like, I don't believe that's Charlie. Or it's like an altered version of Charlie, or it's actual Charlie, and the Charlie we knew was an altered version of Charlie. Like, my thought is that Charlie was an animatronic the whole time, something like that. But, like, I'm with John. It's not the Charlie we know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, that's actually my king, is him going, no. John is smart, king.
Yeah. It's not my king, but I did appreciate that he had that kick her out of bed moment, like, you're not Charlie. But my confusion is, and this is only because I read the first few chapters of the second one, is that everyone else 100% believes it's Charlie, but at the end of the second book, Artie also thinks that's not the real Charlie, but like Artie has not like showed up in the first few chapters.
He's not in the book.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
well,
he's gone.
So it's just John. So that just confirms the theory that Artie is just John number 2.
Yeah.
So whatever.
It's one of the reasons I included him is because he's so irrelevant, but at the same time, it's sort of funny to me. And sometimes things are so bad they're funny, and this book was almost that. but the Springtrap line was so cringy that it circled past that for me.
Yeah, I think it's just mostly bad, but it's okay. I'm almost done. Almost done.
Almost done.
Almost done.
I did want to ask, Charlie gets spring locked. Did you believe she was dead for a minute?
No.
Okay. I was just curious.
No. And in no way did I ever believe she was dead. I knew, because you told me she was not the main character of the third one.
Yeah.
So the entire way through this book, I expected that something would... Yeah, something would happen to her.
Okay, what did you think about her with the drawings of the closets and looking for the closet in the closet at the end? Do you have any thoughts?
No.
Just out of curiosity.
I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah,
I don't
okay.
care. And that's my main issue with this book, is I just don't care. Yeah. If I could get, like...
I don't want to make people feel bad if they like this book.
No.
But none of it worked for me personally.
And it's just like... Ben the Fourth, he just can't get into Star Wars, and...
Yeah. He is reading the entire Lord of the Rings collection, though, and it's this thick.
They just came out with these new illustrated editions that are like $75 a piece.
That's almost been your Christmas present.
I want them, but don't buy those, please. But
that's about what my budget for you is for Christmas.
No. They're so pretty. That's good. I'm glad.
Because I do know people who like this trilogy. I don't know how they feel about each individual book.
Mm-hmm.
Like I told you, one of the dudes who listened to our podcast was reading the trilogy, and I know he likes the trilogy. I don't know like how enthusiastic he is on it. I know Mia likes at least the Silver Eyes.
I like parts of the Silver Eyes.
She also really likes Doki Doki Literature Club, which is how me and her kind of bonded. So, yeah, again, I'm into some pretty cringy shit.
Like Doki Doki Literature Club.
So, like, as soon as they do a Doki Doki, I've been waiting for that novel.
Please, God, no.
I am Monica.
I don't want to read a Doki Doki Literature Club novel.
No,
please.
that one I would just do as a short. I wouldn't make you do that one.
Oh, my God. Unless, like, you got to write the novel by choosing the words.
Oh, that'd be... a choose-your-own-adventure novel?
With Doki Doki, where you, like, pick the shit. And it ends you up with, like, different girls. We just had $1 million idea.
We need to, like, email Dan Silvano and be like, hey, let us write this and we'll let you keep all the rights. Just put our names on it. The Whore of Babylon.
Yeah, give us 10% or something.
I'd take 1%. Just to get our names out there.
Oh, I've been waiting. Okay. Tangent.
Okay, I love your tangents.
No, you're not going to love this one. So, I don't watch a lot of streams.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like Twitch. I prefer YouTube. I prefer produced content. I prefer Let's Plays to streams.
Some nice long-form analytical content.
Yeah.
Which is why we do this.
But one of my favorite Let's Players does occasionally stream.
Okay.
And I do watch those when they happen.
Mm.
So I'm watching a replay of one of his one of his streams, and he's primarily Stardew Valley and Stardew Valley adjacent games.
Okay.
And on one of his streams, he took a break from games, and he said, what we're going to do is we're going to get a list of like the top 200 independent games and make a tier list.
Yeah.
And so they had all these tiers, like perfect, blah, 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 and the bottom one was garbage.
Okay.
They only put one, and he did it cooperatively with the chat.
Okay.
They only put one game in the garbage tier, dude.
Was it Doki Doki?
It was Doki Doki. And here's the funniest part was the guy, the Let's Player, the streamer, he had never heard of Doki Doki. He's like, I don't know what this is. Please, chat, you guys get to decide. And the entire chat was just like trash.
I blame the fan base. The fan base doesn't find me very funny. Apparently, the hanging jokes aren't funny anymore. So
I don't think they're funny anymore. But it also just like shows like the different like internet circles we exist in, like because like people whose like favorite game is the wholesome, beautiful Stardew Valley are like me are not going to enjoy Doki Doki Literature Club. But
I like watching cute anime characters that murder each other in increasingly horrible ways.
I don't.
Yeah.
I also did not like Higurashi, which you love.
I love Higurashi.
Yeah. So it's just a difference in taste.
My only problem with Higurashi is there's a, and you know me, I'll excuse a lot of like stupid perverted shit. But when you have like the 8-year-old in a maid outfit, I'm kind of like, you know what? Maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe that's my line.
I mean, I haven't seen that since like sophomore, junior year of college, so
I have a GIF on that on my phone for a very specific reason. Is anytime people are bringing it up, I'm like, yeah, but he also wrote this scene.
I'll kill you all! I'll drive you crazy, and I'll kill you all! I'm every nightmare you ever had. I am your worst dream come true. I'm everything you ever were afraid of.
Scary shit? Is this book scary? No.
We even said in the first episode that we didn't think that it would be scary to even like a middle schooler or grade schooler. I think this one's even less scary.
Yeah.
But the problem I think is I don't even think the first one was trying to be. I think this one was trying to be.
The only thing,
kind of failing at it.
The only thing that even remotely scratches at the surface of being scary is if I were Jessica, I would have been freaked out by the fact that Charlie was building AI robots that could communicate each other in my bedroom where I slept.
Oh, you know what else was sort of weird? We forgot to bring this up. Clay comes to a college student with no investigation experience and goes, hey, you want to go check out a crime scene? And then gets mad at her for not putting on gloves and poking at a body.
He also leaves Charlie and John and Jessica with the Twisted Ones alone.
Yeah.
While he goes off, and I don't even remember what he does. But
he was evacuating the premises.
Right, and he told you guys watch these monsters. I'm going over here.
Why didn't you have the kids evacuate the premises and hold your shotgun?
I guess because they may not have listened to you, but still, at least like there was another way to handle it. I'm not sure what it was, but there was another way to handle it.
I don't expect everyone to know this. Most police officers don't only just have their sidearm. A lot of them keep a private firearm on their ankle. They keep extra guns in their car. Maybe a small town cop is different. But the very little time I worked, I had a shotgun. I was very encouraged to put a gun on my ankle. And I mean, it's not like we live in a big metropolitan city. I would have given at least one of the kids a gun, is what I'm saying. Like, yeah. Hold this, at least.
Doesn't he at the end when they're like...
At the end.
Yeah.
But like when you first find the things that you know for sure have been killing everybody, give them a gun.
Okay, he didn't need to evacuate those people. He could have just gotten his shotgun and shot
them in the head,
yeah. Okay.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a million other ways to handle this situation.
Kiss me, fat boy.
Kiss me, fat boy. Would you rather kiss John or Artie?
Artie.
Okay. I pictured him in a fedora the whole time.
Yeah, he did kind of remind me
of college
of
Daniel.
You, yeah. And I have kissed you before, so been there, done that. I'll kiss Artie.
Yeah. Now I'm man-whore Daniel.
Man-whore Daniel. I've not kissed man-whore Daniel, but that's all right.
You might get herpes.
Other people do, so that's fine.
Oh my God, are you Stephen King? No, I'm Dean Koontz. Oh.
Kings and Koontz.
I have to, and I don't expect you to agree. They're the quote-unquote twists of the book that I try to put myself in the perspective of someone who was reading it with zero knowledge and in the right age group. And the two things are, she's fighting Springtrap and like, why did you take my brother? And he looks at her and goes, I took you. And the second one is, that's not Charlie. And I'm like, I can see how that might work on somebody this book was actually written for. And I can appreciate what he's trying to set up.
I have not finished the third one. I don't actually know, like, what Charlie's story is. But I had been thinking that she was some sort of animatronic or something along those lines for a while. So, granted, I'm 34. I'm not the demographic for this book. And also,
exactly.
Also, I may just not be right. I have not finished the third one. I don't know. But I know there's something. Like, she's an animatronic or she's an altered version of Charlie. There's something. I don't know.
We'll get into that, especially in the third novel. Because, like I said, William Afton is a character in the games. So is Henry Emily. And so is Charlie. So...
So I'm going to say my king is the improved pacing and the more appropriate length.
I honestly think if The Silver Eyes was the length of this novel,
it would be a decent book.
I think it would be good.
I probably would have came out of that book saying, you know what, not the same as Ring, but like it would have been like, I didn't expect to like this at all, and I kind of liked it.
Yeah, like honestly, I just think all you needed to do was condense their trips to the fucking place. Just the first time you meet everyone, have everyone already at the restaurant.
Yeah, and I can even like tolerate the young adult tropes because I get exposed to so much of that from having children.
I get exposed to that so much by having female friends because that's their primary reading material. That and fucking gore porn.
It's just
it's a weird thing, right?
Yeah, I'm trying not to kink shame people.
I'm not judging. I'm just like, I didn't expect this.
Yeah.
I didn't expect you guys to be reading books written for 12-year-olds or torture porn.
My Koontz is the third act in I Am Springtrap.
My Koontz is I Am Springtrap because it literally almost made me just stop with the series as a whole.
Yeah, if it weren't for the podcast, it's so close to the end, I might have finished this one, but I definitely wouldn't have cared enough to read the third one.
The only thing is it's like the thing with the fucking animatronics is they're all named. They're like Pokemon. You have to give them a name, right?
Yeah.
But you don't have to have them name themselves or like bring the name up because the fans already know what the thing is called. Call him fucking William. He has a name.
Yeah, Dave. His name is Dave.
I'm so mad that they still call him Dave in the fourth book.
But that's who he is.
And I'm like, you guys know what his real name is now.
To me, his name is Dave.
Exactly, because they never stop.
Rankings.
I'm very curious as to what your ranking is for this one because mine is surprisingly low. Oh, you didn't do it ahead of time?
No, but I knew it would be below the Silver Eyes and Watchers. I think I even liked it less than River of Teeth.
River of Teeth was pretty bad.
Yeah, I'm going to put it below River of Teeth. Do I like Nothing But Black? At least Nothing But Black and Teeth was short.
It was super short.
I don't even know if I can put it above Legion.
Can you put it above Lolita?
Yeah, because it didn't make me physically ill.
Okay.
Alright, so no, I'm gonna put it at number 23, which is below the River of Teeth and above Nothing But Black and Teeth. And honestly, like, we don't do ties, but it and Nothing But Black and Teeth and Legion, they're really about the same.
That same tier for you.
Yeah, but for now, it's my number 23 out of 20. We've read 27 books. How many people read 27 books in 2 years?
Not enough.
Yeah. Okay, here's the bottom half of your list. I know it's below this.
It is below the Confederado.
Ooh.
I am sorry, BL Blankenship.
You're better than the twisted ones.
The only I do like the quote unquote twist in the book. I do like some of the characterization. I do like the improved pacing.
Yeah.
And again, this is a personal issue. It's a very personal issue. Is Federado didn't make me almost hate a franchise I actually love.
I mean, that makes sense.
And again, you've met me. I don't get physically embarrassed about shit. I'm 35. I just enjoy what I enjoy, and I do it unapologetically. This made me almost not even want to go see the movie with the first time I read it. Like, I was just like, I just don't want to do anything anymore. This is embarrassing to read. And I don't want to make people, if you like this book, be ashamed of it, but this is where I'm coming from.
I think honestly for me it's mostly a preference thing.
Yeah.
Don't care about the AI. I'm not as interested in Charlie's expanded story as I am in Charlie's story in the first book. I don't care about William Afton and his Springtrap bullshit. I don't care about the twisted ones.
And the thing is in the game, I love William Afton, or the idea of him. because there's not a lot of characterization in the games. It's very minimalist storytelling, which I think is Scott's strength. He's very good at environmental storytelling. But you can't translate that into a novel very well. How do you translate there's a obscure reference in a poster in the background into a novel without calling attention to it?
You don't.
You can't. It's impossible.
Yeah.
I think I've heard that a book that is going to be on my reading list soon, The House of Leaves, is good at it. But I think
that's a cool title.
It's a book that has like references to fake books and a thesaurus to them to explain them.
That's so cool.
It is apparently also a horror book, but I wanted to read it before I suggested it. Because after this book, I'm only suggesting things that I at least like.
Good, because I might murder you.
I thought that this would be funny, and I actually think that our recording is sort of funny.
It is, but it's not worth the 8 hours that it took
work.
to... Yeah.
So
8+.
But I think we might get some clips out of it. I think we might get some clout out of it. So,
okay. All right.
We're done. Finally. What are we at?
Rankings. Zombie Day. That's all you.
Okay, so Illusions may or may not have been part of FNAF 4.
Where's the bottle opener?
There you go. And I'm told the current canon... So instead of the illusion discs being the explanation for FNAF 4 now, is William Afton would kidnap the kids and then expose them to fear gas to record their reactions.
Was he Scarecrow?
Yeah. That's fine for like...
That's the villain I compared him to.
I didn't want to say anything until this. But I was like, okay, so he is literally just Scarecrow.
Homework. Would you rather be caught in a spring-lock suit or between John and Artie? So, question. I'm going to do what you do.
Okay.
And ask a question to your question.
I love that.
Do you mean, like, I'm Charlie and I'm the...
No, yeah, you're the object of their affection.
Well, then I choose that one because that one you don't die.
I'm going to, I'm actually choosing the Springlock suit, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because I have read the messages that I have sent women when I was in college, and I want to die from reading them, so...
Well, I've never really, like, I've been in the same relationship for a long time, and I love it, but I've never really had, like, someone, like, crush over me, so I'm kind of curious as to what that would be like.
One day when I'm feeling a little bit more drunk and a little bit more brave, we will do a pre-show where I literally just bring up these messages and show them to you.
That sounds bad.
We'll make it it's a Patreon exclusive, so people have to pay to listen to it.
All right.
So it's literally just let's embarrass Daniel for 15 minutes.
Question for the listeners. We're doing Jason Voorhees versus Jason
Blum?
All I know about Jason Blum is he's the Blumhouse guy.
And he's doing the Exorcist movie that we have to go see.
Ew.
And Five Nights at Freddy's.
I hate Jason Blum.
But he also did Sinister.
I still hate Jason Blum.
Which I'm doing a short of, but I'm not going to name you.
I went with a friend who bitched out.
Yeah, basically. I'm getting ready to do like a whole short series where I explain my movie-going experiences for horror movies, which I think will be funny.
Yeah,
we'll see.
That sounds good. I think Jason Voorhees stabs him in the chest and it's over.
I think he gets stabbed by Jason Voorhees and goes, "This would make an excellent idea for a reboot," and he makes $1 billion.
And then he dies.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. For further reading, I have
nothing.
I have nothing.
Okay.
I guess The Fourth Closet.
Or the other FNAF short stories, which I hear are hit and miss.
Mm-hmm.
But again, when I read this story, I lost enthusiasm to try them. The only ones that I've thought about trying are the ones that are explaining the lore of the new games, but even then I'm still like, but what if? What if those are just the twisted ones? If you're really into video game adaptations, I have a way better recommendation, which is the S.D. Perry Resident Evil novels.
Any of the Star Wars Old Republic novels.
Yeah, oh, they're so good.
Yeah.
Hold on, I have something. I've been waiting for this. I almost forgot. Call me Bane, because I'm the bane of their existence.
I loved that you got to that from Star Wars Old Republic, but...
Yeah.
Okay.
Bane, best Sith Lord? Oh, well, maybe not. He's in my top 5.
He's very high.
If he's not the bronze medal, he's close.
Yeah, he's definitely top 5.
I'm also like a big Darth Sidious fanboy. Darth Trey is probably my golden medal.
I am very basic in my love for Vader and Sidious, but I love a lot of the Old Republic ones as well.
Do we have our whole season 3 scheduled yet?
No.
I really want to do the Star Wars novels now, especially to make up this for you.
Okay, we'll do the 2 zombie novels.
You know what's funny? Oh, another story, and this might make an okay clip.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting there reading the FNAF novels at work, and one of our security guards comes by and starts a conversation with me because apparently he's read them.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, if you really like horror, like tropes and stuff, you should read Death Troopers.
It is good.
And I was like, oh, you might be my new best friend at work.
Do you know the Star Wars characters who are in Death Troopers?
You've told me before, but I'm drunk right now, so I can't remember.
There are 2 very mainstream Star Wars characters who appear in Death Troopers, which on one hand makes it super awesome, but on the other hand means like, well, I know absolutely these 2 characters will not die. So
that's a good and a bad thing.
Yeah, and it is good, and it is bad.
Who are they? Oh, don't tell me. I want to be surprised.
We will do Star Wars Death Troopers and Star Wars Red Harvest in season 3.
That was part of my make it up to you plan.
All right. Well, that's only 2 books. This is 3 books.
I'm working on it.
Okay. All right.
No, actually, I'm working on like 5 or 6 things because you have to go to the FNAF movie, even though I'm giving you liquor during it.
It's not 3 hours long, so...
I kind of want the 3 hours long cut, not for you, but for me, just to see it.
I'm also like... I just enjoy the movie-going experience, so I'm never like too upset about seeing a bad movie.
I also think that a movie lends itself more to FNAF strengths than a novel does, which is environmental storytelling.
And I'm also like, the only thing that like makes me a little bit excited for watching it is the prospect of seeing it on like a Friday night with a full theater with like people yelling and laughing, and
you have Matthew Lillard, and there's
I love Matthew Lillard.
There's strong casting in this movie.
Josh Hutcherson, I also like.
Part of my plan for this novel series was to go, what is going to be a non-fan's reaction to these books?
Well, you're gonna get it. Yeah.
And this is honestly exactly what I expected from it. Is why you get a bunch of make it up to you stuff.
Yay, Star Wars.
This will become a Star Wars podcast for 6 months.
Yay, like Star Wars. That's a long time. All right, I'm down.
Yeah.
We'll get Ron on a couple. That'd be cool.
Well, there is enough content that we can justify horror and Star Wars.
Oh yeah. We can also do like the Zillow Beast episodes.
We can do a stream of the Old Republic.
I have it downloaded. I don't know if I want to pay for a membership, but I guess for a month it'll be all right.
I have a stream account. I actually have both the games downloaded, so we can actually just open my account up.
Oh, you mean Knights of the Old Republic?
Yeah.
Yeah, you said the Old Republic.
Oh,
that is a different game.
Oh, you know what? We'll do all 3.
Yeah, I actually have our next game picked out for our.
Is it the King of the Hill game?
Well, for our 350 sub stream, we're gonna do 2 games.
Okay.
One is the King of the Hill game, and the other one I'm not telling you because we're just gonna experience it.
I like that.
Yeah. I just gotta make sure my computer can run it.
If not, I'm thinking of cashing my change jar in and finally getting a PC.
You said that in the last episode.
So I can help you edit.
The thing is, it's been almost 2 years, and it's like you're gonna have to like catch up on like what I've learned in 2 years worth of editing.
Yeah, but at the same time, I have so much more free time than you because you're like, well, I'm also a full-time worker, but I have like 4 days off, and I don't have kids. So I'm like, I have the time to learn.
I'll learn you.
Yeah.
I'll learn you good.
Yeah. I feel like I actually owe this to you so much. You have no idea.
Okay. Upcoming on the Horror of Babylon.
The Exorcist 3?
Hold on.
Oh, wait, no.
No, that we've already done that. Our next 2 Sunday episodes on October 15th, we will be bringing you our review of The Exorcist Believer, which, believe her or not, I'm not that excited for, but I'm going to try and go in with an open mind.
I'm trying to be excited for it, but the trailer killed my enthusiasm, and learning the director killed my enthusiasm.
And then on Sunday, the 22nd, we're doing the third and final Five Nights at Freddy's novel, The Fourth Closet. And then on Sunday, the 29th, we will be doing Five Nights at Freddy's 2023, the movie starring Matthew Leonard and Josh Hutcherson.
At least it has a good cast.
Yes. And then our next 2 bonus episodes, Thursday, October 12th, we are continuing the Alien-a-thon with Prometheus.
After reading this, I'm actually going and giving this another.
I'm hoping that you're going to be surprised, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll have discourse either way. And then the next Thursday, October 19th, we are returning to the Treehouse of Horror of Babylon.
Thank you, Jesus. I honestly think that's our best content.
I agree.
I think that if we literally just switch gears and went to just doing Treehouse of Horrors.
I think there's an audience for that.
Yeah.
And there's
definitely a playlist for that.
The one we will be doing is one I have not yet seen because it's from season 27, which is one of like 3 seasons I haven't watched all the way through. It's The Exorcist, which is the Exorcist parody. What I don't know, do you think it's Lisa or Maggie?
I think it's Lisa.
Okay.
I hope it's Maggie. And this is my reasoning. You know how you had me do my my prediction for the upcoming Treehouse of Horrors?
Yeah.
My prediction is that they're the two, that Bart and Lisa are the 2 priests. That's what I want.
Yeah.
What I expect is for like the actual preacher to be the exorcist and Lisa to be possessed.
I was thinking that Flanders would be the exorcist.
I thought he would be one of the 2.
Yeah.
Like him and the preacher.
Lovejoy. Yeah, maybe.
But what I want is for it to be Bart and Lisa trying to exorcise Maggie.
Yeah, that would be great.
I think that sounds really funny. And now I'll be disappointed if that's not it.
I'm just trying to look to see if... I every few days I look to see if they've announced more information on the new Treehouse of Horror.
I keep telling Brian that this is slowly making me a Simpsons fan, which I have not been in a long time.
Good. No, okay, we still have we have Kelsey Grammer confirmed returning, which McMansion and wife. Okay, so here are the episode titles for the first 8-ish episodes of season 35 of The Simpsons. Treehouse of Horror 34, It's a Blunderful Life, McMansion and Wife, Thirst Trap, Corporate Love Story, Iron Marge, Do the Wrong Thing, A.E. Bonnie Romance, Frankenstein's Monster, what? Murder, She Boat, and Lisa Gets an F1. Oh my goodness, what? Frankenstein's Monster? And that's written by Joel H. Cohen. I am very, very curious. Very curious. Okay, so what I did was they've announced the first 8 or so episode titles.
Okay.
And I just read over them for everybody. Look at the title of this one. Frankenstein's Monster.
Huh.
What is that? And it was written by Joel H. Cohen, which I think also wrote the Frankenstein episode. So I'm curious what that is. Also, Thirst Trap. A corporate love story.
Is my prediction 100% right?
Well, these are just regular episodes.
Oh, okay.
Also, Iron Marge. I'm wondering what that's probably an Iron Chef parody.
I kind of want to watch Thirst Trap. Brian, call me Thirst Trap.
Gross. All right, this is going on way too long. Yeah. Thank you to Abigail, the First Breaker of Chains, Mother of Dragons, and
Logan, the Full Metal Painter.
Yeah, and Ben. Thank you, Mia the Fifth, the Rainmaker.
The Rainmaker. She makes it rain.
And go ahead.
Again, just a little shout out to Mia because me and her talk about both FNAF and Doki Doki Literature Club. She sent me feedback on our FNAF episode. She doesn't like to actually comment on them, but she sent me some feedback. And she was like, it was so sweet how you talked about how you and Asher talked to Molly about this. I was like, oh, thanks. I thought it was going to make her break up with me.
Obviously, she likes you, so...
Yes, so just keep going.
Yeah, just be you. And if she ain't cool with that, then she ain't the one. So
She literally watched a whole Doki Doki Let's Play just to talk to me about it.
That poor woman.
Yeah. Her favorite is Sayori.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I accept any answer that isn't Monica, so.
I'm thinking I'm going to order the Sayori, the Nindoroid.
Are they doing them for all 4?
Yeah. Monica was the first, they did Natsuki, which surprised me she was the second one.
Mm-hmm.
I thought for sure it would be Sayori, and Sayori's pre-order bonus is a cookie. I got a lot of flack for asking if it was a rope.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, I've never really thought the hanging jokes were funny, so.
It's fun.
And thank you to Horsemen Comics and Gaming, which you can visit the Morgantown Mall in Morgantown, West Virginia, the Mall at Robinson in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, or you can shop online at shop.forhorsemancomics.com. And if you go into the store, say hi to Ron. Ron, he's a really cool guy.
He is not Springtrap.
No, last time I went in there, he asked me to come into the side room where they play D&D, and he closed the door and he said, "Ryan, I am Thirst Trap."
I am Thirst Trap. I am subscribed to Bella Delphine. I have her bathwater.
I have bought the Kardashian woman's panties on eBay or something. I don't know current references. All right. Thank you for listening. Thank you to our patrons. Stay tuned for our socials and stay scary.
Stay scary, everyone. I love you. Thank you.
And now for the obligatory socials. Please like, share, and subscribe. You can find the podcast on Twitter at HorrorPod69. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Slasher, and Goodreads. Become part of the Disturbed community by asking for the Facebook group and Discord links. Send dick pics to the Horror of Babylon podcast at gmail.com. Support the show at patreon.com/the Horror of Babylon. In closing, you can let your friends know that the Horror of Babylon is available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audible, and all other major podcast apps. Stay scary.